Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. The less you care, the more he wants you. Now, I know some of you are probably sitting there thinking, that makes no sense. If I care less, won't he just leave? No, sweetheart, it doesn't work like that. Let me explain, because men are wired in a very particular way. When you show less neediness, men actually respect and value you more. I know it sounds simple, but many people don't realize how deep this really goes. See, men and women think differently. A woman will often believe, if I show him how much I care, if I give him all my attention, if I prove I'm always there for him, then he'll see how much I love him and he'll never leave. It sounds good in your mind, but reality works very differently. What usually happens is the opposite. It backfires because men do not chase what's already lying in their lap. When a man sees too much eagerness, he doesn't take it as love, he takes it as easy. He sees it as, I don't have to put in effort here. She'll take me however I come. And once he knows that, the worth of what you are giving goes down in his mind. It's just human nature. Think about it for yourself. If someone gives you something for free every single day, after a while you stop valuing it. But when you have to save up, when you have to earn it, when you put effort into getting it, you hold it tighter and protect it more. That is exactly how men act with women. Now, showing less desperation does not mean you should play games or turn into someone cold and heartless. No, it's about holding on to your dignity. It's about saying, I have my own life. I have my own joy. I have my own standards. It's about not making your entire world revolve around a man who hasn't even proved yet that he deserves such a place. When you walk with that kind of energy, you send a message without speaking a word. If you want me, you have to come right. If you want me, you have to bring effort. If you want me, you have to earn it. And trust me, men respond to that energy. Let me share a story. I had a friend who was beautiful, smart, and funny. She had everything going for her, but her one mistake was that she cared too much, too soon. She would meet a man, and within a week, she was already clearing her schedule for him, canceling outings with her girlfriends, and staying available every time he called. And what do you think happened? Every single time the man got bored. He stopped calling, he stopped trying, he stopped putting in effort, and she was left heartbroken, asking what went wrong. What went wrong is simple. She gave away the prize before he had to work for it. Now compare her to another woman I knew. This one had figured it out. She liked a man, sure, but she was not desperate for him. If he called, she would answer, but if she already had plans, she didn't cancel. She kept her priorities straight. She didn't lose herself in the process. And do you know what happened? That man chased her like she was made of gold. Why? Because he felt like if he didn't keep up, he could lose her. She wasn't going to beg, she wasn't going to wait around, and she wasn't going to settle for crumbs. And that forced him to step up. Ladies, listen carefully. The man you want is not drawn to desperation. He is drawn to strength. He is drawn to dignity. He is drawn to the woman who knows she is the prize, because that is the truth you are. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself to him, he starts trying to prove himself to you. That's the balance. That's the real secret. When you stop chasing him, you give him the room to chase you. When you stop moving your life around just to please him, you give him no choice but to make space for you in his. And when you stop showing desperation, you show value. You show that your love, your time, your energy, those things are not cheap. They mean something. The reason caring less works is because it creates a sense of mystery, and men, deep down, respect what they have to put effort into. Remember this one thing: when you show less desperation, men value you more. When you show less desperation, men value you more. The truth is, when someone feels like you're always available, always waiting, always giving without being asked, they stop seeing it as rare. That's just the way the human mind works. If something is too easy, it gets overlooked. A man doesn't lie awake at night thinking about the woman who never says no, who never sets a limit, who never makes him wonder where he stands. He stays up thinking about the woman who challenges him, the one who knows her worth, the one who doesn't hand her heart to just anybody. Neediness drives a man away because it feels like pressure. It feels like you're trying to buy his love instead of letting it grow naturally. And when you act like you can't breathe without him, you don't draw him closer. You make him feel trapped, and no one wants to feel trapped. That is the message overcaring sends. But when you show a little space, when you live in a way that shows your life is full whether he is in it or not, suddenly you're no longer just an option, you're a prize. And men feel that difference right away. That doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself not to throw away your peace and self-respect. And that right there makes a man look at you differently. Now let me tie this with something powerful. Men are natural chasers. That's how they're built. A man values the pursuit. He values the process of working for something he desires. Look at little boys. They race, they wrestle, they fight to win. That spirit never disappears. Men are hunters by nature. They are pulled toward what feels rare, what doesn't come easy. If it's just sitting there wide open with no effort needed, we may enjoy it for a while, but we don't hold it with the same respect. But if we have to chase it, if we have to earn it, if there's a chance we could lose it, if we don't bring our best, that's when we lock in. That's when we focus. That's when we give our all. And ladies, that is exactly why when you act like you're rare, when you live like your time and attention are valuable, a man has no choice but to chase harder. It's not a trick. It's not manipulation. It's human nature. Think about diamonds. They're small, but they're rare. You don't just stumble across them lying in the street. You have to dig, you have to search, you have to put in the work. And because they're rare, they're priceless. But imagine if diamonds were scattered everywhere like gravel on the ground. Nobody would care. That is the same difference between a woman who gives herself away too easily and a woman who knows her worth. The rare one makes a man rise higher. And here's the twist. When you put these two truths together, they become incredibly powerful. Show less desperation, and your value instantly goes up in his eyes. And because men are wired to chase, that value sparks his instinct to go after you, to try harder, to win you the right way. That is why women who set boundaries, who don't drop everything at the first call, who carry themselves with confidence, they are the ones who keep a man chasing, not for a day, not for a week, but for the long run. Call who keep their own lives moving. They don't lose men, they attract stronger ones. The men who leave them are the ones who never plan to put in real effort anyway. But the men who stay, they're the ones who recognize her as rare. The ones who say, I better not mess this up because I may never find it again. That's the difference between being overlooked and being cherished. It's not about playing tricks. It's about living with self-respect. A man who knows you won't settle, who knows you don't depend on him to make you whole, who knows you see yourself as valuable. He won't treat you like an option. He'll treat you like treasure. And all of that begins with two simple truths. Desperation lowers your worth, and rarity makes him chase harder. When you show less desperation, men value you more. And the reason is clear. If you act like you cannot live without him, he won't see you as precious. He'll see you as replaceable. Desperation feels like pressure. It feels like begging. And no man reacts well to that. A man feels pulled to a woman who carries herself with confidence, who shows that her life is full and meaningful even when he's not around. It's not about being cold. It's about being balanced. When you care for yourself as much as you care for him, when you stop chasing and start choosing, suddenly he sees you differently. He respects you because you respect yourself. And that leads straight into this next truth. Men are natural pursuers. They desire what feels rare. If you give yourself away too quickly, if you're always available, always shifting your plans, always picking up the phone in seconds, he doesn't have to put in any effort. And when there's no effort, there's no reward. Think about it. If you walk into a store and something is just being handed out, you don't value it. But if you've been saving money for months, dreaming about it, working for it, planning for it, when you finally buy it, you cherish it. Men value what they work for. They are wired to chase, to pursue, to earn. That's why a woman who lives like she's rare keeps a man invested. She's not out here begging. She's not out here lowering herself. She's not out here giving away her worth for nothing. She's the diamond in the rough, and that makes him pursue. Now, let's add the third piece to this. Overgiving and overcaring can make him take you for granted. This is where many women make the mistake. You think if you give him everything, he'll see how much you love him and he'll never walk away. But let me tell you something. Sometimes the more you give, the less he values it. Because when you overgive, you teach him he doesn't have to earn anything. You teach him he can give the bare minimum and still get all the rewards. And the sad part is, instead of feeling grateful, he starts feeling entitled. He begins believing that's just how it's supposed to be. Think about this in everyday life. If somebody cooks for you, cleans for you, does everything for you before you've even proven yourself, you get spoiled. You stop saying thank you. You stop noticing the effort. It's not that you're cruel, it's just human nature. You grow used to it. That's what happens in relationships. When you overcare, he stops caring. When you overgive, he stops giving. The balance disappears, and then you're left wondering why he doesn't treat you the way you treat him, when in truth, you taught him not to. But here's the other side. When you pull back a little, when you stop stretching yourself too thin, when you give only what's deserved, he wakes up. Suddenly, he realizes, wait, she's not doing all that anymore. I better step up or I might lose her. And that's when he starts valuing you, because he sees you're not desperate. You're not easy. You're not just pouring everything out for nothing. You've got standards, and he knows he must rise to meet them. These three truths connect like gears in motion. Showing less desperation raises your value. Men being natural pursuers means they'll go after what feels rare, and not overgiving keeps them from taking you lightly. When you live by those principles, you don't have to beg for love. You don't have to chase after it, and you don't have to prove your worth. You simply stand strong in who you are, and the right man will notice it, respect it, and do what he must to keep you. When you show less desperation, men value you more. Desperation carries a heavy energy, and it pushes people away. A man can sense it when you're sitting by the phone, waiting for him to call, rearranging your life just to fit into his, giving him all of your focus before he's even earned it. That doesn't make him think, wow, she loves me so much. It makes him think, I don't have to try, I don't have to give effort. She'll accept me no matter what I do. And once he feels that, his effort fades. But when you take a step back, when you continue living your own life, when you're not desperate for his approval or validation, suddenly you're not just another choice, you're prized. Men don't value what's desperate, they value what's dignified. That ties directly into this truth. Men are natural chasers. They crave what feels rare. If something is sitting right there waiting, they don't chase it. They might enjoy it for a short time, but they don't hold on to it. Men lock onto what they fear losing, what feels like it takes effort, what stands apart from the rest. That's why the woman who knows her worth, who doesn't beg, who doesn't hand herself over too fast, she becomes the one a man pursues the strongest. Men want to win. They want to feel like they've earned it. And when you carry yourself as someone valuable, rare, and not easy to get, you spark that natural instinct to pursue. Now, let's bring in the third truth again. Overgiving or overcaring can make him take you for granted. Many women think if I just pour everything into him, he'll never walk away. If I just love him harder, he'll see my worth. But here's the problem. When you do too much for someone who hasn't earned it, they stop appreciating it. Instead of gratitude, they develop entitlement. They start expecting it like it's normal. And when something becomes normal, it stops being special. That's why so many women feel unappreciated. They gave so much thinking it would tie him closer, but instead, it made him lazy. It made him careless. It made him assume she would never leave no matter how little he gave back. But when you stop overgiving, when you give based on what's truly deserved, it changes the balance. Suddenly, he sees your love is not automatic. It's not guaranteed. It's not unconditional, regardless of his actions. He realizes he has to step up and match your energy if he wants to keep you. That small shift can wake a man up fast because men respect what they work for and lose interest in what's simply handed to them. And the fourth piece which ties this all together is that confidence and self-respect are far more attractive than neediness. A man doesn't fall in love with a woman who clings to him like her life depends on it. He falls for a woman who stands strong on her own, who looks in the mirror and knows she's already enough, who doesn't have to beg or fight for attention. Confidence is magnetic. It says, I know who I am, I know what I bring, and I don't need you to make me whole, but if you step up right, I'll let you walk beside me. That kind of energy makes a man chase, makes him respect you, makes him think carefully before ever taking you for granted. Neediness, on the other hand, weakens attraction. If you're always checking on him, always afraid to lose him, always sacrificing yourself just to keep him satisfied, you don't look like a partner, you look like a shadow. And shadows don't inspire love, they inspire control. But confidence, true confidence makes him lift his game higher. Self-respect makes him want to protect what he's found. And when a man sees both, he knows he cannot play with you because you don't depend on him. You choose him. When you mix these truths, they form a simple picture. Less desperation makes him value you. His nature as a pursuer means he wants what feels rare. Overgiving only makes him careless, while balanced giving keeps him there. And above all, confidence and self-respect will always shine brighter than neediness. When you show less desperation, men place more worth on you. The biggest mistake people make is believing love means proving yourself, showing up every moment, and making sure he knows you're always available. But when you do that, you don't look like a treasure. You look like an option that never moves. And men don't give their highest value to what is guaranteed. They value what they fear losing. If you want a man to deeply respect you, you cannot present yourself as someone who needs him to survive. You have to stand tall on your own and let him see that being with you is a privilege, not a rescue mission. The reason this works is because men are natural chasers. That's how they're wired. From childhood, they've been competing, running after what they want, proving themselves. That instinct doesn't vanish when they grow up. Men are hunters, and hunters aren't drawn to what lies wide open. They're drawn to what feels rare, what feels valuable, what looks like it can't be caught so easily. If a man doesn't have to work for you, he won't stay for long. The pursuit is part of what makes him attach, part of what makes him invest, part of what makes him respect the reward. A man loves to feel like he earned what he has, and when you carry yourself like a rare prize, he will chase as if his life depends on it. But here's the danger. When you start overgiving or overcaring, you shut down that instinct. Instead of letting him earn your attention, you hand it over without cost. Instead of letting him prove himself, you're already doing everything for him, sometimes before he even asks. And instead of gratitude, he grows comfortable. He grows spoiled. He begins to expect your effort as if it's owed to him, and before long, he takes you for granted. This is why so many women end up feeling unseen. They gave everything thinking it would make him hold on tighter, but it only made him lose respect, because a man doesn't value what he never had to earn, and overgiving teaches him he doesn't have to try. That's why confidence and self-respect are always more attractive than neediness. A woman who trusts her own worth doesn't have to chase, doesn't have to beg, doesn't have to overdo. She knows herself. She knows what she brings, and she refuses to accept being treated less than she deserves. That kind of energy pulls a man in. It makes him view you differently because he knows he cannot play with you. And the truth is, every man secretly admires a woman who holds her standards. Neediness makes a man lazy, but self-respect makes him step up. Neediness weakens attraction, but confidence multiplies it. When you show that you are complete without him, that you choose him but don't depend on him, that's when he wants you the most. And then there's this final piece. Sometimes you must pull back. Pulling back doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying all the burden. It means you stop trying to control every turn of the relationship. It means you allow space. And when you do that, something powerful happens. That man starts thinking of you. He starts missing you. He starts realizing how much brighter his life feels with you in it. The silence makes him reflect. The distance makes him chase. The absence makes him appreciate the presence. That's why people say distance makes the heart grow fonder. And it's true. When you're not always there, he imagines life without you. And that thought alone pulls him closer. So when you put it together, the pattern is clear. Don't be desperate. Be valuable. Let him chase because men are wired to chase. Stop overgiving because it only makes him careless. Walk in confidence because that's what keeps desire alive. And don't fear pulling back because silence often speaks louder than any word you could say. When you show less desperation, men value you more. The moment a man feels like you cannot live without him, like your whole world is wrapped around him, his respect begins to fall. Not because he's cruel, but because desperation removes mystery, removes challenge, removes the idea that he must earn you. If you hold your dignity and don't chase after him, that's when he realizes he has something precious. The reason this works is because men are natural hunters. Since boyhood, they've been wired to go after what they want. Men don't crave what drops into their hands without effort. They want the pursuit. They want the thrill of chasing. They want to feel like they won a prize. If you give yourself away too easily, he doesn't lock in. But if you make him put in effort, if you show him you're different from the rest, that's when his instincts switch on and he stays engaged. But here's where many women get trapped, over-giving and over-caring. You believe if you love him harder, if you give more of yourself, he will never leave. But usually what happens is he stops valuing it. The more you give, the less he notices. Instead of gratitude, he develops entitlement. That's how you end up feeling overlooked because you gave far more than he ever earned. Men don't treasure what they didn't work for. If he doesn't put in effort, he won't respect the reward. That's why confidence and self-respect are always more attractive than neediness. A woman who carries herself like she knows her worth doesn't need to beg for love. She doesn't chase. She doesn't compete. She doesn't tear herself down just to keep a man. She stands tall and lets him know, I am the prize. And that energy is magnetic. Men can't resist it. Self-respect commands respect, while neediness drains it away. The truth is, a man will always admire a woman who sets her standards and holds to them. And sometimes the strongest move you can make is to pull back. Pulling back doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you stop overextending. It means you stop carrying the entire relationship on your shoulders. When you create that space, he notices what life feels like without your constant presence. He starts to miss you, to think of you, to recognize your value in ways he couldn't see when you were always right there. Space creates longing, and longing creates effort. In the end, the woman who sets boundaries is the woman who earns lasting respect and desire. Boundaries tell a man, this is how I expect to be treated. This is what I will not accept. This is what I deserve. And believe it, a man may test those limits, but once he sees you won't bend, he respects you for it. Men don't stay with the woman who lets them get away with everything. They stay with the woman who makes them rise higher. Boundaries don't push good men away. They separate the players from the keepers. When you put all this together, the truth is clear. Value comes from not being desperate. Attraction comes from rarity. Respect comes from not overgiving. Desire comes from confidence. Closeness comes from pulling back at the right moments. And commitment comes from boundaries. Live by these principles, and you'll never need to wonder if he truly wants you. You'll already know.